Instagram world. We are going live. I am here at San Diego State University, SDSU, today for Social Media Summer School, and we have an awesome group, and I'm going to be talking Instagram marketing, of course. So feel free to skip ahead. If you're watching this on the replay, there will be some lulls until I get started, but just wanted to stop in and say hi and welcome you to the video. So thank you, as always, for tuning in. See everybody showing up already. Hello, Rachel. Hello, Danny. So good to see you guys. I'm just going to throw up here that we are talking Instagram. You guys know I can't write and talk at the same time. Instagram marketing at SMSS18. There we go. Oops. Trying to do two things at once. Okay. All right. So as usual, I can't be here to answer any questions, you guys, but I hope you enjoy.
Can I video bomb and say hi?
You can totally video bomb. This is Alex.
I'm
she's
video
hosting
bombing
it, and she's in the Facebook group. So if you guys, I was trying to post in the Facebook group that she was in there, but Facebook's not letting me upload. So she's here live instead. Yay!
Hi! You all are an awesome group. I just wanted a video bomb because she's so freaking cool, and I wanted to feel like a cool kid. So hi! Love you all.
All right, I think, is everybody back?
Almost everybody.
Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and get started because I have a lot to go through. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jenn Herman, Jenn with two N's. I was born in 1980 with about a bazillion other Jennifers, so I've always been Jenn with two N's. The conversation earlier about millennials, technically, I'm a millennial. I was born in 1980. That's usually kind of that cutoff point for millennials.
Isn't that a zennial? Isn't that considered zennial?
Yeah, there's like this weird kind of group of the late X's and the early Y's that kind of form our own little demographic. So technically I'm a millennial, but I do have a lot of Gen X tendencies because I fall more in line with them in a lot of ways. But, you know, we kind of roll with it and figure out, you know, like you said, it's easy to put everybody into a bucket, but not everybody falls into that one bucket. So I am the world's forefront blogger on Instagram marketing. I've been doing this for over 5 years now, and I started out doing Instagram because my friends were there, and they said, you got to get on Instagram. And I was like, oh, I ain't got time for the platform. Like, I'm already on everything. But I jumped on the bandwagon, and I fell in love with Instagram because of photography. I love photography. I love creating that kind of creative content and that sort of thing. So I really fell in love with it. I was that person that you hated to go out with because I was like, no, you can't eat yet. I have to photograph your food. No, we have to stop. This is a perfect sunset. Pull over. Stop the car. Like, literally, that was me. I've gotten a little bit better. I'm kind of rehabbing my way out of that. But sometimes it still happens. Cocktails usually get photographed. So it was one of those things that I fell in love with Instagram, and I was like, how are we going to do this? Like, it's got to be a business application to it, right? Like, we got to be able to figure out how to use this. And no one was really blogging about it and getting real strategic, as Alex talked about, the strategy side of using Instagram for marketing. And so I was like, well, you know what? I have a blog. I'm going to start writing about it. And you can go back, if you want to dig 5.5 years back in content on my blog. All the posts are still there. They're kind of crazy to go back and read, but they're there. But I took everybody on the journey, and I was like, hey, I tried this and it worked. Tried this, didn't work so well. And it was very educational as we went through the process. And in the process of doing all of this, learned what worked, what didn't work, started blogging more and more about it, started getting interviewed to podcasts, started getting interviewed for magazine articles, radio, and all these things. So now I am one of the world's leaders in Instagram marketing. I'm based here in San Diego, so that's always lucky. But yes, I've been featured in numerous publications. I've written well over 100 blog posts on my own site dedicated to Instagram marketing, plus probably at least 100 blogs for other organizations as well. So I kind of think I know a thing or two about Instagram, but a lot of it I actually know from other people. I'm very lucky to have a great network of people, and when new features roll out, a lot of times I don't jump on those features and be like, oh, Instagram just launched something new. Because everyone just said Instagram launched something new. But no one knows anything about it, it's brand new. So instead, I actually work with a lot of people in the background. And what people don't see is I have a huge network of people that work for a lot of the third-party API tools. I have friends that live in other countries that get access to beta features before they roll out, or get access to features that rolled out in other countries before they roll out in the US, or that roll out in the US before other countries. And we, as a team, work in the background. and we're testing things, and we're in the Facebook group, and we're over in Instagram direct messages, and we're on email, and we're going back and forth, trying out and testing things before we come out and all of a sudden claim to know everything about a new tool or feature. So to Alex's point when she said I'm in the trenches, I'm in the trenches. I love Instagram, I love what I do, but I can't do it on my own. There's so much that, like, literally, Instagram probably changed something about 5 minutes ago because they knew I was coming up here to talk, because they literally listened to me. I'm not even joking. Every time I'm going to speak about something, they launch a new feature, and I'm like, come on, you guys, like, now I gotta go change my slides again.
Actually, I just got a Google alert about, did you see what happened on Instagram?
The time management?
No, I'm just making that up.
They did actually release a time management tool this morning. So Facebook and Instagram actually have a new time management tool that's rolling out today, because I'm speaking today. I'm really not that important, but I'd like to think I am. But they did actually just launch a time management tool that is now going to tell you how long you were on Facebook or how long you were on Instagram, and you can set notification timers. So if you don't want to be on there for more than an hour, when you've spent an hour on Facebook, you'll get a message that says you've reached your hour. So whether or not we really want to know, that feature is actually coming out. So yes, Instagram changes something every single day. So anyways, that's a little bit about me. I've also written Instagram for Business for Dummies, which came out in January of this year with 2 of my co-authors who were amazing. So if you really want to know all the nitty-gritty about Instagram, you can go to my blog, jenstrends.com, or go by Instagram for Business for Dummies. It's like 300 pages of everything you could possibly need to know about Instagram. And because it came out in January, it's actually remotely current. So the power of Instagram I want to talk about first. I could sit here, I could literally talk to you guys for 6 hours, but unfortunately I don't have that much time. So really quickly, if you haven't figured out, I talk really fast. And so you're getting the screens or the slides afterwards, so don't feel like you have to take notes on everything. But if you want to grab screenshots of anything as we're going through, please feel free to do so, because I know I talk crazy fast because I got lots of slides and lots to tell you. So I love Instagram first and foremost because it is a community building tool. I always use a story of my friend Brooke, who lives in New York. Well, actually now she lives outside of the city. But she used to live in Manhattan, and she posted a photo of fireworks. I think it was either July 4th or New Year's or whatever it was, but from her rooftop in Manhattan. It was an amazing fireworks show, obvious. And I love me some fireworks. And we work in the same industry, and I'd kind of heard of her. And I commented on her post, and we started chatting, and we've become great friends. And I'm going to go stay with her when I go out to Maine in September. She's going to hang out with me, and we refer each other clients and everything. And this was all because I commented on an Instagram post. And now we're like besties. And I have hundreds of stories like this. And that's a personal interaction, but brands can do the same thing. You can create a relationship with your audience, with your customers, in a way that you can't do on other platforms. Instagram, one of the reasons I fell in love with it is because it's so highly interactive. Who trolls on Facebook and just scrolls but doesn't actually like or comment on anything?
Oh, come on.
Raise your hands, because we all do it.
Yeah,
because everyone will see what you liked, right? Political season, don't comment on anything, right? You will lose half your friends no matter what you do.
Yeah.
So no one does highly interactive stuff on Facebook because it's a very public forum. Everyone knows what you do, see, like, and interact with. Instagram's not like that. It's much more fluid to do. Scroll, double tap, and double tap is how you like on Instagram. So it's much more engaging. You're much more likely to get more comments, much more likes, much more in the direct message side of things. So it's a great community building tool, and that's probably the primary reason I love Instagram. Related to that, it has some of the highest engagement rates of all the social media platforms. I'm going to ask, but does anyone know what the average engagement is on an Instagram post? 3%. Wow! That's really high. I know, you're all thinking I'm crazy, but it's high. Twitter is like a 1/100% of interaction. Facebook, you're lucky to get like maybe a quarter to, if you're really good, like a 1% engagement rate.
So you're talking about 3% of the people that follow you?
Correct. Yeah, engagement rate meaning the number of likes and comments divided by your total follower count. So 3% is the average on Instagram. Smaller accounts will have more, larger accounts will have less. The more your account grows, the more you get casual followers. I do these events, and I get all of you lovely people follow me at Jenns_trends, and then 2 weeks from now, you kind of stop checking Instagram, and you stop necessarily following all the content I'm posting, and so the engagement drops off. Because your more casual followers as your audience grows. When you're small, you have devoted, loyal followers who love you and they will comment on everything you do. As that audience grows, those demographics shift a little bit. So you will find your engagement drops as your account gets bigger. But yes, engagement is about 3% on average on Instagram. Finally, my number one reason for business purpose for Instagram is traffic from Instagram, which everyone thinks is crazy. Because there's one clickable link on Instagram, and that is in your bio. You cannot drop links in your content. You can't post it in your comments. People can't click through, and all of you hate it. And I love it. I think it's amazing. Because people have to work for the attention. Facebook and Twitter are lazy. You throw up a link, and you're like, check that box, did that. You can't do it on Instagram, people. You got to work for that traffic. But what happens is you post something and you say, click on the link in my bio to get your download. Click on the link in my bio to purchase. Whatever it is, they have to read your caption, go, I want to do that. Click on your profile. Get to your profile. Click on the link. Get to your website. They've already taken 3 steps to get there. It's not junk traffic. They didn't, fat thumb it and click on it by accident. Their screen didn't freeze. They got there because they legitimately want to be there, which means your bounce rate is essentially 0. You will not get as much traffic from Instagram as other platforms, but I guarantee you the quality of traffic that comes from Instagram is better than any other platform, which is why I love it for business. You have to be creative, and you get highly rewarded when you do. All right, so first we're going to talk about creating a profile that converts. We're going to go through a couple things here that make your Instagram profile the best it can possibly be, and then we're going to talk content strategies for you guys. So a business profile is paramount. Who's using Instagram right now for business? Okay, do you have a business profile or is it personal? Business. Good. If you're not, you will convert by the time you leave this class. So business profile is paramount because you get so many amazing things when you go from personal profile to a business profile. You get contact buttons, and I'm going to show you screenshots of what that looks like, but you can put 3 buttons on your profile, which can be call, text, email, or directions. Those are direct contact buttons. If someone wants to call you, they click call. It actually opens the phone app on their phone. Shocking, I know, to use it as a phone. And then they can call you. And then guess what happens when they talk to you on the phone? You close the sale. Like, they didn't get lost, they didn't get distracted, they didn't come, oh, I'm going to think about it, oh, I'm going to go back to lunch, oh, I'm going to think about when I get home, oh, I'm going to go and research it, I'm going to go Google it and find 10 other competitors. No, they picked up the phone and called you and they just closed the sale.
Can we have 2 of the business and the personal?
You can have 3 of the 4. And now there are new buttons as well. That are partnering with third-party apps. So if you use things like Eventbrite to sell tickets, you can actually have a Get Tickets button on your profile now as well. So you could actually link that to an event. People could buy tickets to come to your event directly through Instagram. They click on that, it opens the Eventbrite tab, they can purchase, and boom, you just made a sale for your event. So that works for reservations for like restaurants and salons and all those sorts of things as well. There's a whole bunch of integration on that. So that alone, done. You're a business profile. You need just for that reason alone. You get an industry listing, which links to your Facebook page. That is the caveat. In order to be an Instagram business profile, you do have to link to your Facebook business page. You need a Facebook business page to connect. It's because of the ads in the background. Even if you don't want to run ads, doesn't matter. You have to link to a Facebook page to upgrade. You get in-app analytics, which I don't have a ton of time to talk about analytics today. Again, I could be here for 6 hours if you really wanted to. But you get in-app analytics on your Instagram account that are priceless. They're not the most robust analytics, but they give you a ton of information, including how many people came to your content from hashtags. Which if you're using hashtags strategically on Instagram, that is information you want to know, and the in-app analytics will tell you that. You also have the ability to boost posts, and unlike Facebook, there is no negative impact on the algorithm by being a business profile. That will probably someday change, let's face it. But for now, and for the last, 2 years or however long we've had business profiles, there is no negative impact on the algorithm by being a business profile. So, a couple examples to show you what a good profile looks like. I love this example from the Love Bomb Company. If you're not familiar with them, they are a super fun company. You want to have your name and your username. Their username, I actually cropped it off in the screenshot, but it's at the Love Bomb Co. And their name is the Love Bomb Company. Name and username are the only 2 searchable criteria on Instagram. Meaning, if somebody is going to find you by looking in search, what you want to be found for has to be in your name or your username. They don't have to be the same thing. For example, mine's at Jenns_trends is my username, and my name is Jenn Herman, Instagram expert. Sometimes I change it to Instagram blogger, Instagram speaker, or whatever else I want to be found for. But if it says Instagram expert and someone's looking for an Instagram blogger, they won't find me. because it doesn't say Instagram blogger anywhere in my profile, or in my username or name. That's the only two criteria it's searching. So you need to make sure whatever keyword you're looking for, or that your audience is looking for, not what you want them to find, what they're looking for, you need to make sure that's in your name or your username. Your profile photo should be consistent across all your social media. But on Instagram, your profile photo gets about this little tiny bit. It's really small. So what looks good in a beautiful photo on your desktop as this huge image with all these amazing people or this beautiful backdrop, when it's a tiny photo, it probably looks horrible. So look and see what it looks like when you shrink it down. Does what looked like a relatively normal photo all of a sudden look maybe inappropriate? It's happened. Was there text on there that now you can't read? Were there a bunch of people that are now dots? Look and see what it looks like and pick a really good photo that when you shrink it down super tiny still represents your brand in a good way. Your description is paramount. If you take anything else away from this today, is write a good bio, you guys. Seriously, you can't write one, find somebody who can. This is paramount to success. This is your 30-second elevator pitch. The only time people will look at your bio is the first time they come and look at your profile. After that, they don't care. The only time they're reading your bio is most likely the first time they come to your profile. So it needs to be amazing. It needs to have personality. Who are you? What do you do? What are they going to get for following you on Instagram? Why does it matter to them? Why I love Love Bomb Co. is they have a great bio. Boom, you just got loved. That's their slogan. We spread love Monday through Sunday. That's what they do. They share fun, motivational content Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week. Products of positivity with a touch of profanity.
Nice.
That's what their products are, which is why I love them. Today I'm going to manifest some cool ass shit. That's what my coffee mug says.
Yes.
Because it's Love Bomb Co. And they have all these, like you can't really see them in here, but that actually is what that slogan says, is that one there. So there are these motivational things. They do a lot of things with moms and moms with kids. And I'm going to mom the shit out of this day, that kind of stuff. And they do a lot of user-generated content, and they repost things that their audience posts. But if you love that kind of content, you love them. If you don't like it, bye-bye. But they're telling you right there, this is who we are. If you don't like profanity, bye. If you're good with it, you're going to love us. So it's very clear. You're not here to make everybody happy. You're here to make your target audience happy. Then they have hashtag the Love Bomb Co. Now hashtags are clickable in the bio. Only use your branded hashtags.
Oh, wait, say it again?
Only use your branded hashtags. Don't use hashtag photographer, because then they click on hashtag photographer and it takes them to all the content on the photographer hashtag, which is not your content. If you put hashtag John Smith Photography San Diego, when they click on that, it goes to all of your content. That's a good thing. We want to keep them on your content. We don't want to send them away. So only put clickable hashtags if they are related to your brand and your product. And then they have the 15% now with the call to action to their website. That is an effective bio. These are some other effective bios. Jill is a realtor on the East Coast, and she has a great bio. She's a realtor. She sells houses. Not a complicated thing, right? But what do you care about when you connect with someone who's going to sell your house or find you a house? You want to know who they are as a person. You want an emotional connection with them. You want to trust them, right? So her bio says, Wellesley's premier realtor. You know, she's a leader in the industry. She's reputable. Top 20 Caldwell banker. Again, building trust. She has 4 children. Now you're knowing about her personality. She's done 3 skydives and 2 marathons. Dang! This woman's legit. Instantly, you've just made an emotional connection with a stranger on Instagram because she posted those few things. That is a powerful bio. She does change it every now and then. That's an older screenshot. It might have changed since then. But she keeps it fresh with this type of content, you guys. This is a great example of creating a brand besides being like, I sell all these houses and I'm amazing. No one cares. That's a commercial. This is who you are as a brand and making connections with people. Dollar Shave Club, they simply say, Dollar Shave Club makes and delivers everything you need to look, feel, and shave like $1 million without paying for it. Try the club today. Quick and punchy, to the point. Who are they? What do they do? They just told you. And Adobe is an exception to the rule. They actually change their bio every single month. They run campaigns every month to encourage people and artists to create content. So every month they have a different campaign theme. This one was hashtag Adobe Metallic, so it was metallic artwork. So they actually change their bio every single month to represent what they're doing for that theme to get people to submit content for UGC and like contest type stuff. So that's a unique way to actually change the bio and get people to come back consistently, because they've created this mentality that you want to go and look at it and find out what the next theme is and participate. So they're generating engagement through their bio. All right, so what's working on Instagram now? I say this all the time, and I'm going to go back to the lovely knowledge bomb that I shared on my Instagram stories that Alex shared with us this morning. Consistency outbeats frequency. Instagram, I'm going to tell you right now, is becoming super saturated. Instagram has over 1 billion monthly active users. It's the second largest platform behind Facebook, if you don't count YouTube, because there's debate whether or not YouTube is a social media platform. So if you don't count YouTube, it's literally Facebook and then Instagram as the two largest platforms. They're the only platforms that have over 1 billion monthly active users. That is a boatload of content. And we as marketers in this room have created the cesspool of crap that is out there. Yes, we did. Because I guarantee you scroll through your feed and you go, everyone else's stuff is crap, yours is probably crap too. But we can create better stuff, I promise. But to do that, it means less content. The reason there's so much crap is because 3 years ago, people said, well, just create more. Get over the noise by making more content. So we were posting 3, 4, 5 times a day, and you can't create quality content at that frequency. It is impossible. Unless you are like a major sports team, or it's during the Olympics or something like that where you have a boatload of content. The average business cannot create that kind of content. Post once a week and make it frickin' amazeballs. Post 3 times a week and make it amazing. Post only the best content. I live on Instagram. I go 2 or 3 weeks without posting sometimes. Why? Because I don't have anything quality worth posting. And I'm not going to post something that's not going to resonate with my audience and damage my production because I'm not going to get the engagement, or it's going to turn them off of my content because it's useless. I'm going to wait when I have something of value to share with them. So it's more about being there consistently and creating quality content than just creating a boatload of content for the sake of checking that box. Instagram stories are huge. As Alex said, I don't like Instagram stories. They're not the way I ingest content, and they're not the way I want to create content. Octonation is an amazing example of creativity. If you want to follow him on Instagram, his stories are awesome. This one he actually created, this is actually a video that he shrunk down, drew a little TV around it. This was an animated GIF with the arrows. This was an animated GIF with the popping wow. It's like you're watching a little TV. I'm like, dude, that's so creative. Who comes up with this stuff? He does. But that's a great example of a creative Instagram story. It's a way to generate new types of interaction and engagement with your audience. If you have over 10,000 followers on Instagram, you get this lovely little swipe up link. You can put any link to anything in the world on your Instagram stories if you have over 10,000 followers and you're a business profile. If you don't have 10,000 followers, do not go out and buy them. It's not worth it. There's other ways to drive traffic. But if you do have the over 10,000 followers, yes, that's a great advantage because you can say, here, swipe up. And you can send them to the product page, you can send them to a landing page, you can send them to your blog, you can send them to an opt-in page. Anything in the world you want to send them to, you have that option. And this one's not playing, but this is my lovely daughter. I know, I can't do a presentation without her being in it. But that's actually a boomerang video. And so there's they're really short, like back and forth videos. They have no audio. And so in this one, we were cheersing our Jamba Juices. So she's doing this in the video, and it's just ridiculously adorable. But anything like that you can create those fun little snippets of content. Instagram stories are anywhere from 7 to 15 seconds if they're a video, and photos hold for about 7 seconds. So you can create short little videos, you can do fun little animations, you can do doodles and stickers and all these creative ways to create fun content. Instagram stories is basically what Instagram was 4 or 5 years ago. Instagram now is very curated, it's very highly created content, it's polished, it's edited, it's highly strategic, not a bad thing. Instagram stories are very raw and real. It's that authenticity and transparency that everyone talks about in social media. Related to Instagram stories, story highlights are a new feature that came out recently, which actually allow you to take those stories, which they expire after 24 hours. Stories are short form content. They literally disappear after 24 hours. But they stay in your archives, and you can actually create albums on your profile. And so you can create as many as you want. I tried and got to like 22 and gave up because I was tired of trying to see if it would cap me out. So I don't know if there's a cap, but you can go at least 22. And these people have both created unique custom cover photos for them, but you can have any type of cover item you want on there. And what you can do is divide them into categories, and now you can take all your old stories and put them in there. So if you have products, you can have an individual product catalog for all of your content. If you do blogs, you can have one for your blogs. If you do behind the scenes, if you do live events, if you do charitable work in the community, you can have different albums for each of those things, and those now become permanent content. And if you have that swipe up link for 10,000 followers or more, you just created a full catalog of album where people can click on all those links for as long as that content lives in there. Okay, so on Instagram, photos. Everybody loves a photo. I don't care what they try to do and get us a love video. Everybody loves a photo on Instagram. It is the top performing type of content. It doesn't matter. It may change some point in the future, but let's be realistic. It's Instagram. People, they love photos. Photos will always perform the best. Then videos, then carousels. Carousels are where you can upload up to 10 photos or videos in one album, and you can swipe through if you've seen those on Instagram, where you can actually swipe through multiple pieces in one post. The reason I think carousels don't perform as well, and I think it's a misleading stat, is because when people click on a carousel and they swipe, they've already interacted with it. So the mentality to double click to like it, or in other way generate a reaction, isn't inherent because they've already interacted with the content. And that's not a metric that is measured in Instagram analytics or details, so we can't see how many people swipe through your stories. But we can see how many likes and comments you got. So in general, carousels usually tend to have lower engagement, but that doesn't necessarily mean people aren't looking at them and seeing them still, so don't write them off. Organic versus sterile. This was something we kind of alluded to a little bit in Alex's session as well. It's that authenticity, that transparency, the stock photos versus the real photos. This is a photo, again, emotional connection. The product is the umbrella, but it's in Cuba with a pink car and the architecture, and it's an entire atmosphere. That is an organic photo. It is not the umbrella on a white shelf in a white room being photographed by a studio shot. No. No one wants to see that on Instagram. We want to see pretty, organic content. This photo, I always use her as an example. She's a fashion blogger. If the watch is the subject of focus, she's trying to sell the watch or promote the watch. But I look at that, and I know I'm her target audience, obviously. I'm like, ooh, the boots. Ooh, the sweater. Oh, I want it all. Like, gimme, gimme, gimme. Right? All she's doing is trying to sell a watch. But she has sold an entire atmosphere, an entire emotion in that post by making it a complete story. It's not the watch in a box on a shelf. It's not boring. This tells a story that makes me run out and buy that watch. And this one is an old example. I don't even, do not look at their account because I don't even know if it's active anymore, but I like this photo, so I still use it, where that stands out in the feed. If you're scrolling through Instagram, just so you guys know, busy photos don't perform well. When there's a lot of clutter and it's hard to find an object of focus, those busy photos don't usually perform well. This is the epitome of the opposite to that. It is a bright, bold color, and it is a single object of focus in that. It's beautiful, it's well-curated content for their brand, but it stands out. That makes you stop in the feed and go, oh, what was that? And stop and look at it, which is going to make you read the caption, etc., etc. Find ways to make that content stand out. You will notice all three of these photos have a human being in them. Human beings create engagement. It creates an emotional connection. Only one of them do you see your face. You don't see the face in either of these, but there's a human component. When you can put a human in your photos, whether they're holding the product and you can see their hand, over the shoulder, any sort of capacity where you can include a human in your content, it's going to perform better. Targeted hashtags. I don't know if I have hashtag slides in here. I hope I do. But using targeted hashtags. That doesn't mean hashtag Justin Bieber, hashtag love, hashtag happy, hashtag July 4th. Those are not targeted. Your brand is targeted. Your niche, your industry, your content is targeted. So if I took a photo of me standing right here, I could use hashtag entrepreneur, hashtag speaker life, hashtag teaching, hashtag SDSU, hashtag Instagram marketing. Those are all targeted to what I'm doing, as well as what my potential audience is looking for. So you need to think about that context and not just use hashtags because they're popular.
I'm hoping you can speak a little bit more into this since you're on this topic. There was a woman that posted in your Facebook group recently this week where she asked for you to look at her profile and her content. So you went through and you looked and you said, you're not using the right hashtags. It was the woman that dealt with debt.
Yeah.
Can you speak more into that? Because I think that's a great example of
Yeah,
strategy.
so she had posted a photo or a link to her Instagram account and said, I'm really struggling to get, traffic growth and building my audience. And I'm brutally honest, you guys, I'm not a nice person. I'm a really nice person, but when it comes to these things, I'm not very nice. And I warned her, I'm like, be prepared for brutal honesty. I'm going to tell you what I really think. But in the hashtag conversation about it, she was using things that were very specific to her industry. Hashtag debt collection, hashtag debt reconciliation, hashtag get out of debt, all these things. The problem is that's not what your audience is looking for. That's what your competitors are posting. That's not what your customers. No one goes to Instagram to find out debt consolidation. Okay, let's be real. That's what Google is for. But what are they doing on Instagram? They're looking for, if they're in debt, they probably have bad shopping habits, right? So they're probably looking for things related to online sales, flash sales. They're probably looking for things related to the types of products that they want to buy, whether they're high-end luxury items, designer clothes, any of these sorts of things. Figure out what those people are looking for, and then you show up in that, because now if someone goes and looks for, Kate Spade purses, and they find something that says, get out of debt, here's how we can help, they're like, yeah,
it's a sign. It's a
you're
sign.
Right. Exactly, and it's not something that, people don't intuitively think that way when we think about posting content on Instagram. We think about, oh, my content is about this topic. Another great example of that is Home Depot. Or no, sorry, not Home Depot. Duct tape, the actual duct tape product. And they were using all their tape-related hashtags. No one's on Instagram looking for duct tape. But you know what they are looking for? DIY, home repair, home improvement. When they started using those hashtags that their audience was looking for, they started getting huge gains. So it's not what you want to be found for. It's not necessarily what you do. It's what your audience is looking for that is what you want to use in your targeted hashtags.
And how do you do that? How do you find that?
A lot of time. It takes time. It takes going in and asking questions about your audience, knowing what they're doing, finding out, and this is a great time where you can use Instagram stories and ask polls. What do you do on the weekend? What are your holiday plans? They may seem like superfluous questions, but if your audience is saying, I'm going to Italy, I'm going to Greece, I'm going to Mexico, I'm going on a cruise, okay, well, you have some high-end customers who like to travel. That one question just told you a lot about your demographic versus people who are like, oh, staying home and watching a Netflix marathon. That's a completely different target audience. So you want to ask questions over time. You want to post opportunities for them to share their feedback and their opinions. That's going to give you insight. Look and see what your competitors are doing. Research them and see what hashtags they're using. You can go to Instagram and you can start typing in a topic, and it will give you all related topics in the search results. So you can start typing in, something like, purses, and then it'll give you everything related to that. Or you can type in fashion, or you can type in jewelry, or whatever it is, and it's going to start giving you all the hashtags related to that, as well as suggested hashtags that aren't directly related. So it can take some time to go through. You always want to be evolving this and looking to see as you
What
go through.
about being disingenuous? When you gave the example of someone who's selling debt collection, and you're telling them to do the bait and switch.
It's not a bait and switch because you're doing.
It's like you're saying that they're hashtagging specifically deal of the month, and all of a sudden they find this site that's quite the opposite of letting you spend. It's telling you how to get out of your spending habits.
Absolutely, but in the sense that if someone finds that hashtag, what they're doing is they're going to the hashtag search and they're looking for content in a search. It's not a bait and switch in the sense of you're misleading them, because when they look at your photo, it's going to say debt reconciliation or get out of debt or help you. It's not. It's very clear what you're doing.
You're giving them a choice to engage
with
not
you.
to.
Exactly.
It's not like when you see those things on YouTube where they tell you they're going to say something crazy, and then
right, and then it's not, or you watch the entire video and it ends up being a totally different.
They're just trying to
exactly, because you're being upfront about it, but you're just giving yourself an opportunity to show up in a
reach the
search
people that actually need you.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to say also with the hashtags, is actually on Instagram, when you start typing in a specific hashtag, you can see how many times that hashtag
Hashtag is
has been
used.
posted.
Yeah.
So you can see if it's a popular one or not a popular one.
and I honestly can't remember, I hope I have my hashtag slides in here. If not, you guys seriously go to jennstrends.com and literally search for Instagram hashtags. I have 3 blog posts specific to my Instagram strategies with my super secret recipe that I tell everybody. And it literally outlines that, the popular versus moderately popular versus niche specific, and how to use them and how to find them. And having that right recipe and differentiation of them is really critical.
Do you keep the same hashtags, like you copy and paste to every post?
I have a group that I reuse on all of them, that are my brand, my industry, my niche. I have ones that will vary based on content. So obviously if the photo is taken summer versus winter, there might be different, environments. If I'm at one event versus another event, those are content related. If you have different products, those might be different content type things. So you're gonna have a kind of a base of maybe, 8 to 10 or 12 that you kind of use all the time. And then your other ones are going to kind of vary based on your content, based on, what the purpose of that post is, or that sort of thing.
Thank you.
All right, we already talked about business profiles, but business profiles are hugely rewarding right now for Instagram. So let's talk about what makes a good caption. If you're not using captions, you suck. Not gonna lie. A photo says 1,000 words, yes, but this is where you get conversions. This is where you actually get results. Because that's a pretty photo, but who cares? This all of a sudden tells you something. So in this case, this is an example from General Electric, and this is a lovely windmill. If we've ever driven to Palm Springs, we've seen hundreds of them. It's very exciting, right? But if you read the caption, this clean energy innovation started 3 years ago with a styrofoam ball and a toothpick when GE scientists were challenged to build a rotor that could harvest more wind. Dude, they built that out of, originally, a kindergarten program. My kid plays with styrofoam balls and toothpicks. Right? That all of a sudden, it tells a story. It takes you to a completely different level of interaction with that brand on something that is kind of interesting. Now it got much more interesting. It gives you education. It gives you insight, behind the scenes, all these sorts of things. It's a way to really capitalize on that interaction and building that brand relationship and that brand story with your audience. They should always be not too short, not too long. I always recommend 1 to 3 short paragraphs. A good long sentence is a paragraph in my world on Instagram because you only have this much room to write. You can have up to 2,200 characters. I started, my last post actually maxed out at 2,200 characters, and I had to put my hashtags in a comment. I've never maxed out. I literally was like, I've never done this before. But you have 2,200 characters, so don't usually go that long. I was a very educational post with IGTV, so it was kind of an exception to the rule. But in general, you want something that's kind of short. And you want personality. You want something that's going to draw people in. Again, we're not trying to please everybody. We're trying to attract our target audience. And this is an example. She's actually my co-author on Instagram for Business for Dummies. And she said, be like a postage stamp. What? Stick to one thing until you get there. Oh, that's kind of cute. Oh, I like that. But this photo catches your eye. It's the bright. It's the color. It stands out in the feed. This just took it so much more. And then she went on to talk about, the whole purpose of that post. But you catch you right away. The other thing worth pointing out is that captions, in this case I've already expanded it, in the feed you get about 3 lines and then you get the ... more. So that first sentence needs to be your call to action. It needs to be your best blog post title. It needs to be your best email subject header. It needs to be something super awesome that's going to get people to click ... more. Because if they don't, then all of this is irrelevant. So this first sentence has to be super powerful to catch them and get their attention in order to drive those conversions. This is an example of a longer one. This is from my friend Tanya. She's a fitness coach, and I love hers because this actually isn't very, I screenshotted it because the context of it is good. She usually has way more emojis in her stuff. She's got so many emojis and I love it because she's so fun. And when you read it, you totally understand her personality. As a fitness coach, you need to have that relationship with someone. This is not meant to be robotic. It's not meant to be branded in a corporate speak. She is the opposite of that, and that's why I love her. So all of her personality comes through in this. She's got the emoji. She goes, I am so stinking giddy with glee. That's how she talks. If you meet her, that's literally what she sounds like. And she's incorporating that personality into her content so that people know exactly who they're going to get when they work with her. This is TSA. If you're not following TSA on Instagram, go follow them. They're freaking amazing. I'm not even joking. TSA.
Seriously?
They're amazing. Seriously, you guys have no idea how, it's one of the best Instagram accounts. I know, it's shocking. Here's a saw. Really? It's a saw. How interesting could it be? If you see something, say something, but don't saw something. If you saw something you see at the airport, there's a good chance you won't make your flights. We know it's a cutting-edge tool, but it will have to go in your check bag if you need to fly with this. This was discovered in a carry-on bag at the Atlantic City International Airport.
That is
Everything they post is stuff they actually confiscated by TSA agents. It's crazy. Like, I'm talking like grenades, weird stuff that people try to take on planes. But they also do behind the scenes of their TSA dogs. They give whole bios and stories and conversation about what it's like to work with those dogs and how they interact. So they are a very good example of a company or a brand, a government agency that should not be fun, that should not be entertaining, that we would have no concept of actually interacting with, doing Instagram really, really well.
Can you identify how they did that? Is there a person that they hired in this account, and what was the purpose behind it?
So they do everything is very educational. Their content is meant to be fun and educational. It's meant to build client relationships and have people understand what they can and can't do. They do a lot of customer service through Instagram as well. So if you have questions about things, they will respond to you. If you have a question about what you can or can't take on a plane, that sort of thing. They do have a team. It's a small team, but they do have a team that does all this content for them. So they submit the photos to the social media team, or they somehow get a hold of them, and then they write up the content, and they're just really good copywriters.
Wow, it's amazing.
A little off topic, but as my business and my brand, is it going to hurt if I go follow someone like TSA or somebody strange? Okay.
No, when it comes to following people on Instagram, there is absolutely no follow for follow rule. Do not follow everybody who follows you. That is the worst idea in the whole wide world. Follow anybody who matters to you.
Okay.
If it's a celebrity, follow them.
Okay.
If it's a competitor, follow them. If it's your friends and family, follow them.
Okay.
It really doesn't matter. Some people may go look and see depending on the size of your brand, but most people don't really care who you're following.
Okay.
It really doesn't matter. And it's not going to have a hugely negative impact if you're following something like TSA. Mm-hmm. If you have a very specific political direction, perhaps there might be something that, especially if your brand is, very left-wing and you follow a bunch of right-wing politicians, that might cause some concern. But again, that's a very limited scope, and if it's one person against the 300 you're following, it may not be even recognizable. So I wouldn't worry about it from that perspective.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, get more reach and followers. I think I do have hashtag slides in here. Yes, I do! I literally was like, I can't remember you guys. I'm so sorry. I should have come a little more prepared. I reviewed these slides before I walked in today. So 10 to 20 hashtags per post. If you want to, you said you're going to get this slide deck, so you're going to have all of this information. You're going to use your own custom branded hashtags. I use hashtag Jenn's Trends, hashtag Learn from Jenn. You're going to use trendy or themed hashtags. You're going to use content-related hashtags, and you're going to use industry-related hashtags. What does that mean? This lovely example is a perfect one. This is from the Marriott Marquis in downtown San Diego. They have 6 hashtags, and they covered every single one of those topics. They have Marriott Marquis SD, branded. They have hashtag San Diego. That's essentially industry-related, or it could be trendy or themed. They have hashtag Labor Day weekend. That's a theme. Hashtag summer. That's trendy or themed. Hashtag pool is content. There's a pool in the photo. And hashtag vacation is trendy or theme and or content. So in those 6 hashtags, they hit every single one of those categories. I recommend you use at least 10 to 12 hashtags. I actually recommend you use 20. That's kind of my magic number, is usually about 20. More you use, more exposure you get. You can use up to 30.
What's the best way to find out about custom branding your own hashtag?
Do it. Whatever you want it to be. It literally doesn't matter. You just want to make sure someone else isn't necessarily using it. So for example, Jenn's Trends, I've pretty much dominated that hashtag. There was somebody else years ago who did I think she did like hair or something like that, but was it Jenn's Trends? But you'll never find her content because my content overwhelms it. So it's one of those things. I know. Like, sorry. But she uses other hashtags or that sort of thing. So you want it, like if you had a brand name, like let's say you were ABC Photography, you would want to make sure no one else is using ABC Photography. Mm-hmm. But as long as no one is, then you just start using the hashtag. You can make whatever hashtag you want. Branded hashtags can be longer, but you still want it to be something that's recognizable and easy to remember. So for example, Social Media Summer School 2018 is a very long hashtag to write out. So you get the acronym, the SMSS18, right? That's very normal for event hashtags. But again, as branding, is someone going to look at you and go and know what SMSS is? No, but they would know what Social Media Summer School is. So you might want to use both hashtags in that capacity, where at the event, people are using that smaller, easy to remember hashtag, but your branded hashtag is the longer one, because that's where people would actually be more likely to find something with that specific keyword, those sorts of things when they're looking for things in hashtags. So your branded hashtag can be anything related to your brand name, what you do, how you do it, what makes you different. For example, the Love Bomb company does the boom, you just got love, like that's their slogan. So you could have something like that that was related to a hashtag. So you're going to combine all of those relevant hashtags, again, relevant, related to your content, your industry, your niche, your business. You're going to use 4 to 5 popular. That's anything up to about 1 million posts. Now, there are certain industries that you're going to get more into like the 1 million to 2 million range. That's okay. But ideally, the more you can stay under the 1 million, the better results you have. The reason why is if there are 3 million pieces of content on a post, if you post right now, in literally 5 seconds, you are so far in the archives, no one will ever see your content. Yeah. The only people who will see your content are automated bots, and that's not worth it. We don't care about that. So try to keep it under 1 million. But if you have to go into like a 1 or 2 million range, depending on your industry, that's okay. 5 to 6 moderately popular, that's anything in the kind of like mid 100,000 range. The niche specific are going to be your target audience. So for example, I use things like social media marketing, social media strategy, marketing, business, entrepreneur, but I also use Instagram strategy, Instagram for business, Instagram marketing. Those Instagram ones are my niche specific. It's not my brand. My brand are Jenn's Trends and Learn from Jenn. But my niche specific are anything related to Instagram training, Instagram marketing, and those sorts of things. They don't have a ton of content on them. So what happens is, when you use this entire recipe, the popular ones get you an initial burst of activity. These are from non-followers, okay? Your followers are already liking your content and interacting with you like normal. This is for non-followers to find your content. The popular ones get you an initial burst of activity. So immediately you post and you start getting likes. Instagram says you look good. But those ones disappear. You fall into the archives. The moderately popular, though, keep you active for hours into days. So you got initial burst of activity, and then you keep it going. So what ends up happening is on those niche-specific hashtags, you are now a top post. Because based on performance, Instagram said you are a top performing content. You created content, your audience interacted with it, and non-followers found it, interacted with it quickly, and stayed engaged over time. That means you created quality content, which means more people will probably like it. We're going to show it to more people. So in the Instagram search, you show up as a higher ranking post. What happens when you're the first post somebody sees in a search?
Click.
You just had somebody land on your content. And now guess what? They go look at your profile. And you just wrote a really great profile. We talked about that earlier. And they go, oh, click the call button. Boom, you made a sale. You're welcome. Other things you can do, follow event hashtags. You can actually follow event hashtags by finding the hashtag and clicking follow, and that content, some of it, not all of it, will show up in your feed. So I'm always looking for new restaurants. I actually follow hashtag San Diego restaurants. And then all these beautiful photos from restaurants show up in my feed and I go, ooh, screenshot.
So I mean, when you say your feed, that's only what you see.
Only what I see, correct. Not content that's being created for other people to see on, but what I follow in my feed based on who I actually follow and interact with, these will show up in there. And so now I get a bunch of great ideas of new restaurants to go to. And they just got free exposure. I'm not following those accounts. I'm not following any of them, but I just got opportunities to find new content. So as an audience, it's great. As a business, it's great. But taking that one step further, for example, there's the SMSS 2018 hashtag for this event. I will go into every conference hashtag for every conference, whether I attend it or not. So I will do inbound, I will do social media day, San Diego, I do social media camp, I do social media marketing, all those conferences. And I do this. And I just scroll and I double tap. Because what happens is, I just liked everybody's content. Now, most of the people on those hashtags are my target audience. They are people who are attending a conference who need help with social media. I teach social media. I do client social media strategy packages. I consult clients on how to do social media. So my client is sitting at that conference and they're creating content. I'm not harassing them. I'm not cold calling them. I'm not bugging them. I'm liking their content. And all of a sudden, they pull up their notifications and go, who's this Jenn's Trends? It looks like all 5 of my photos. Guess what they do? They go to my profile. I have an awesome profile because we just talked about how to do that. They follow me. They email me. I get a new client. Right? So you need to find out what hashtags work for your audience. It might be hobby hashtags. I think I heard someone talking about Christmas trees. Was I eavesdropping on you and talking Christmas trees? So he has a Christmas tree farm. I was totally eavesdropping because this is what I did. Yeah. And this is what we all do, let's face it. I just admit it. But you're looking at a very specific audience. They're people who want holiday decor and those sorts of things. So you want to find things that are maybe not event related, but that are more topic related to that decor and the holiday season. And you find those hashtags, and the same thing. You just scroll through and you double tap to like. All of a sudden, people start finding out about you. So you want to find out where your audience is and what hashtags they're interacting with, or what content they're creating, or hashtags they're creating content around. You can use contests as well. Instagram contests are probably the easiest place to run contests. Facebook contests have gotten better with their rules, but there's way more rules on Facebook than on Instagram. Literally, run a contest. There's like one rule, and I'm going to show you what that is. But basically, you want to create a contest. Be clear it's a contest. Make it super easy to enter. And make one of the requirements that they have to tag somebody in the comments below. So they have to follow your account, step 1. Step 2 is tag 2 of your friends in the comment below to enter. Guess what?
Profile.
Those 2 friends they get tagged, they come look at it, they go, well, I want to win. Now they tag 2 friends. Ripple effect. I know we're getting close to time, but does anyone remember the swimsuit debacle here in San Diego? Anybody hear about that? Oh my God. I can't believe you guys haven't heard this story. It was a disaster. There's a company here in San Diego that sells bathing suits. Used an Instagram contest. Said for everyone that regrams this photo, we'll give you a free bathing suit. Millions. And this was a small startup.
Oh my God.
They did not have the capacity. The media attention they got, I'm sure, blew their business out of the water. I'm sure they're probably doing great now. But their ability to capitalize and complete that contest was a disaster. So these are things you do want to put limits and restrictions. Most contests, as I'm sure they have run other contests before, didn't get a ton of results. Your first contest, you might get 5 people that enter. You might get 50. You will probably not get a lot of momentum right away. So they, I'm sure, were like, they've probably done other contests and not got a ton of results, so they're like, hey, what could go wrong? Karma. She saw that. So it turned out, like I said, in the long run, I think it probably benefited them, but it was a disaster to get to that point. So be very cautious when you do run contests about your rules, stipulations, regulations to enter, limitations, and that sort of thing. This is basically the only rule that is required. And believe it or not, this is required on Facebook. If you read Facebook's contest rules, this is actually required as well. Feel free to screenshot this if you want. You are getting the slide decks. This is on the help information if you want to look up Instagram contests on their help page. You must put this disclaimer on every Instagram and Facebook contest you run. It releases them of liability from the contest. And if you're not posting that, you're actually in violation of their terms of service. Not that anyone does it. That doesn't mean it's right. So make sure you do that. Okay, wrapping up really quickly. Using all your tags, and these are some older screenshots, but using all the different types of tags in your Instagram stories for reach. Hashtags will get you some exposure. If you use a hashtag in a story, your story will show up in those hashtag searches as well. So you have a double opportunity to show up as a regular feed content if you're creating regular content with a hashtag, as well as in the hashtag story search. Location tags are a flippin' goldmine. You should be using location tags as much as possible when you are creating Instagram stories. Tag your business if you're tagging at your physical location. Tag in the vicinity of your business. I have an example that I used where I tagged in, I went to National University over in Torrey Pines, and I tagged National University Torrey Pines. The smallest possible location I could tag. I showed up in that result for a location search. I showed up in the San Diego search. I showed up in the Torrey Pines search, and I showed up in another one. So by tagging a super small location, I actually showed up in 4 searches for locations. So if you tag San Diego, you're not going to show up in Torrey Pines. But if you tag Torrey Pines, you could show up in San Diego. So go as small as possible when tagging locations. And then user tags so if you start typing someone's name, it'll give you a list of the people that come up with a similar name. Make sure you choose the person from the bottom, because if you don't get this underline. If the underline's not there, they don't get notification. It's not applicable to their actual username. It has to be underlined, just like any URL web link type thing. It needs to be underlined to be clickable. So make sure when you're tagging people and using the @ and their name and their stories, make sure it's underlined. And the easiest way to do that is to choose them from here. So you would choose on, that's my other account, Jenn's Friends. You could tap on that, and that would open that up and put that name in the user tag. This is a new feature. Everyone has this defaulted to on. If you are a business, leave it on. If it's personal, you might want to turn it off. This is allow others to reshare. This is a new feature that came out a couple months ago that I still don't have. For all the things Instagram listens to, they're not giving me that one. But basically, this is an example of what it means. This is an original post on Instagram. My friend who has this feature took that post and said, share to my stories. It's essentially the first step towards a native regram within Instagram. And it took that original post and it put it in her stories, where she can add captions and doodles and everything else. And then you get this little thing called See Post. So when I see her story, I can click on See Post, and guess where I go? Go to the original content. I'm now getting an opportunity to go look at that restaurant, see what they have, maybe book a reservation. So as a business, this is an amazing opportunity for exposure for your products, your services. A lot of my followers do this. If I share an educational post on Instagram, they share it to their story. And they say, go check out Jenn's Trends. She has everything you need to know on the latest Instagram update. So I'm getting a ton of new exposure because my audience is doing the work for me by I allow them to reshare my content. IGTV channels are brand new. This just came out on June 20th, I think it was, June 20th, June 25th. Talking about video today. This is not live video, but it's very similar. This is a fully separate app. You can watch IGTV within Instagram app, but to create content, you actually need to download the IGTV app. It's a completely separate video platform. It's 15 seconds to hour-long videos. So it's exclusive content. It's not meant to be from other places. It's not something you can take your stories and just throw them in here. It has to be fresh content, and it's only in vertical. You cannot, if you flip the camera, it won't go horizontal. It's only vertical viewed videos. So finally, to get more sales, build your community first. Build that audience. Build those relationships. That's how you drive your conversions. Create educational, entertaining, and relevant content to your audience. If your audience wants fun, give them fun. If your audience wants education, you give them education. Don't push your sales in more than 40%. I put that stat up there because people always want a stat, so I give you a stat, but I really don't care. There's lots of creative ways that you can still push your business without pushing your business. Meaning, I could take a great photo of a sunset and say, oh my gosh, it's been a long, exhausting week, taking 5 minutes to take a deep breath and enjoy the sunset. Can't wait to show you guys what we're launching next week. Sunset photo, completely unrelated, but brand related in the context. So there's creative ways that you can still make things brand related without being pushy. So I say 40%, but you can really make it as much or as little as you want, depending on how you creatively interact it. Mix up your calls to action. Your call to action should not be the same. Click on the link in the bio, click on the link in the bio, click on the link in the bio, click on the link in the bio. People get desensitized to that. Click on the email button and contact me. Click on the call button and call me. Stop by the store. Call and make a reservation. Click on the link in the bio. Mix it up. And finally, you guys have fun. I could sit here and talk strategy all flippin' day because I love it. But really, Instagram is fun. And when you put those walls down and you just embrace it and you really show that true side of your brand and that authenticity, you will have way better results. So just embrace it, have fun. It's great. It's a fun tool. This is where you can find me. I know we didn't leave any time for questions, so I'm sorry, but we took some questions during, so hopefully that was enough. I will be here through lunch. So if you have questions, feel free to come up and talk to me at lunch. I'm totally okay with that. If you want to reach out to me afterwards, send me an email, hit me up on direct message on Instagram. Let me know that you saw me here so I know who you are and have some context. But thank you guys. It was awesome.
Bye-bye. Did I not say she was in the trenches?